Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm the Sports Guru 716 and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Today I'll cover the Hendrick Motorsports quad group of drivers, and this is my second to last video in this series. If you haven't watched the previous ones, go to my channel and watch them. I did most every team that's going to race full time or had a charter this season. Now, in this first half of the video, I will cover the two lesser teams, in my opinion, of the four going into this season. First, we have Kasey Kahne, a driver that has proven that he can show glimpses of what we all thought he could be years ago when he came in with the Everham 9 and did very well. But ever since going to Hendrick, he really hasn't put it together. He had one good season, and besides that, he really is the fourth best driver in the stable by a long shot. A lot of people feel this is his last year to prove whether he can do it or not. This 5 car has seen many different drivers over the last 10 years with the likes of Casey Mears, Kyle Busch, Mark Martin, and Kasey Kahne. So, you've got to do something with this. For a while there, it was like, oh, the Everham equipment isn't good enough. The Richard Petty Motorsports equipment isn't good enough. But now he's at Hendrick, the team that has one of the best drivers of all time on it, and drivers constantly competing for championships, but yet you can't even make the chase and actually compete for a championship. That's not good enough. That is definitely not good enough. As you can tell, when he moonlights in trucks, he does very well. And in the Xfinity Series, he gets a win every couple seasons, moonlighting in the 88. In the second half of this, we have Chase Elliott. Now, Chase Elliott is a driver that has proven he can get it done at the Xfinity level at a very young age. He's only 20, 21 years old, going into his first season of full-time Cup, replacing one of the best drivers of all time in Jeff Gordon, which is a very tall task for him to have. Not only does he have to worry about that, but he also has to represent his last name, Elliott, Bill's son. This is going to be a big, big season for him. I don't expect him to win a race, but, it would be real cool to see. I think he'll compete for the Rookie of the Year with Ryan Blaney, and we'll see what happens, In the Xfinity Series, he won a championship, then finished second in points last season. So he has done very well once he got to stock cars. And at such a young age, the experience is only building. And, I don't think they're going to compete for wins. I think he could get like a couple top 10s, a few top 10s. Because the team has proven it's good. It went to the final race last year. Now I guess we'll find out if that was more Gordon or Elliott this year. I mean, Gordon or his crew. And whether Elliott can capitalize on this crew. Where Kasey Kahne will be, I think, the fourth best driver in the stable, and I think this is his last year with Hendrick Motorsports. And after this year, there will be figuring something out in terms of a replacement driver, because Kasey Kahne is not getting it done. He is very nice to see, very nice to look at in the ladies' eyes, and that's why he's marketable. But other than that, he really isn't good enough. Where Chase Elliott, it's just so weird when you look at that picture of the 24 car and you see Napa on it. My whole life I've seen Jeff Gordon driving that car, and it's crazy to look at it and see Chase Elliott. So Chase Elliott's a driver that is showing a lot of promise, and Hendrick Motorsports should be proud and really interested in seeing what he does this season. And here we have one of the greatest drivers of all time in Jimmie Johnson. As you can tell by his best points finish, he is 6-time champion in this series. You can barely read it because it had to be so small text to fit in the box. He will compete for wins, and he will compete for a championship like he does every single season. And last season, it was kind of weird not seeing him at the end, but I also felt kind of good about it because I'm kind of getting tired of Jimmie Johnson at the end of a season competing for a championship. It just was kind of getting old. But a driver that will compete for wins, constantly be in top 5, top 10 situations, and in the end, he will be standing there, and you will have to get through him to win a championship. Now, with him, it's a situation where him and Chad Knaus get along so well that, they could have two flat tires and win a race. They could go 2 laps down and win a race, getting their laps back. And, it's one of those tandems that we rarely see in motorsports. And you see it in other sports. You look at the NFL with quarterbacks and head coaches and Belichick and Brady. That's pretty much what it is. Like Knaus and Johnson are like Belichick and Brady. They just literally, and they both kind of push the limits too, which is funny because it's almost like every couple of years you see the 48 get in trouble for, not passing inspection because they play with the gray area. They get along so well. They both know what each other wants. They both are on the same page and they get the job done. And in the end, they will be standing there and they will have a few wins this season. With Dale Earnhardt Jr., we look at Chase Elliott, a driver that has to follow up his dad, and you should look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. for advice throughout all season because Jr. knows all about that. And last season he won the opening race, and it was funny because he was like, I guess I'm in the chase. And, at restrictor plate tracks, Jr. is a threat. I think he won at Martinsville last year too, but at restrictor plates, I would say Junior's going to get a win this year in one of the 4 restrictor plate tracks. Probably make the chase. And now whether he can get it all together and finally win that championship, I don't know. I don't think he will because he really just hasn't shown signs of being consistent enough across the 10 races to warrant being the champion of the series. Where you can race well at Daytona and Talladega and a couple other tracks like Martinsville and Phoenix and places like that. But if you can't race all 10 well, you're not going to win a championship. And especially in this series, you have to race Homestead well if you want to win. So, will it be great? Will it be one of the coolest things in professional sports for Junior to win? Sure. And I would love to see it. But in all actuality, you look at it and you think to yourself, well, I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's going to compete for wins. He'll probably end up with 1 or 2 wins this season, be in the chase, and probably bow out in the second to last round. He'll be in that round 5th range. He's a very good driver that just needs to put all 10 races to end the season together to win a championship, and we have yet to see that. And that will be the end of my video. Thank you for watching. Slap a like on it if you liked it. Comment below if you have any disagreements. And tomorrow will be my last video with the Joe Gibbs Racing team. So, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.